All right, greetings everyone. Hope you all doing all right. It's a quick live stream. I want to talk a little bit about this Eligio Bishop Nature Boy situation. I had some members. I did a video yesterday dealing with this for members, and I did another one. I think it was about a week ago, and there were two comments that I wanted to address inside of this video, if y'all don't mind. I'm trying to find this message because one of the pretty much everyone should know this. Hey, how's it going, lady? I'm gonna get back to live streaming too. I had to explain to members I hadn't been feeling well, then I was feeling better, and then I just got real worse, and so I had to take a step back from being on social media. But I'm doing a lot better now. Hey, how's it going, Empress? How you doing? Hope everything's going well with you. So the whole situation with Eligio Bishop, a Nature Boy, he was convicted on all charges, and then he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, and then plus 10 years. So I'm sure he's probably going to try to appeal, but ultimately he's done. And you know, it's very much deserving. A lot of people don't realize the damage, and the damage that he's caused. I explained this in the video for members. The damage that he's caused, what we saw inside the court, what they talked about with the evidence, everything they talked about, that's a very small fraction of the totality of what harm, the types of harm that he's caused people for, what was it, over close to a decade at least. And that can't be missed out on all of this. I think we tend to focus on the trial itself and what he was ultimately convicted of, but the truth is that he had done way more damage to a whole host of people for many years. And so I wanted to talk a little bit, and I'm just going to be brief. I want to talk a little bit about this plea deal, and I've been getting different. I just want to get the appropriate information on this. I've heard people say that the plea deal was 7 years initially, but I'm looking on Court TV. And he didn't take the plea, obviously. It went to trial, and he ended up getting life. But I'm looking on Court TV, and it said the morning the trial started, Bishop turned down a plea offer for 30 years in prison on the revenge porn charges and a reduced charge of aggravated assault. Prosecutors would drop the false imprisonment charge under the deal. Bishop rejected the offer, but not without some hesitation after presiding Judge Stacey Heydrich warned him that going to trial on the grape charge exposed him to a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole, and that's exactly what he got. But I've had other people say, one of the members said that 7 years, that he was offered 7 years, and it went from 7 years to 10 to 20 years, depending on the judge's discretion. And she did say something about discretion, but she also said that she couldn't give him she didn't feel like she should give him any less of a sentence than what he was given because of how he behaved in court. And he was really out of control. But what I'm really trying to find out is because Court TV said 30 years is what he's turned down. But I've heard other people say that it was like a 7 year. Did anybody know anything about this? Let me know. Yeah, she warned him, and he really did. He really tried her. He really did. She was very patient, but he was out of pocket. I think he, with people like Nature Boy, Umar's the same way. Polite is like that. Everything has to be this show, even if it's something serious, and it is about them. They have to make it about them in a more theatrical way, like it's theatrics. It just can't be okay. It's a trial. You know, it has to be, look at me, and everything is about me, and I'm still the greatest of all time. Polite was like that. He's in jail now. Umar's like that. It reminds me when Umar did the block party. That block party wasn't for anybody but for him. At the end of the block party, he has a fake marriage. He does it twice, and he's dancing down in the middle of the street of these abandoned buildings. The theatrics, and if you do that in a court, the judge is going to consider that. And it was clear that he didn't have any remorse for what he was convicted of. He didn't care, and how he behaved while the victims were giving their testimony, how he behaved when what do they call that? The other testimony, the victim statements, that type of thing, something to that effect. How he behaved during that time. She had to consider that, and he had no remorse. So she ended up giving him the maximum. But what I'm trying to figure out is what was the actual plea deal? Was it 30 or was it 7? Anybody know in the chat room, let me know. How's it going, Star Seeker? Hope you're doing all right. What's up, Black Wolf? Dion's in the building as well. Larry's in the building too. Yeah, I'm feeling a whole lot better, Aisha. I am. I don't know what was going around, but it hit me hard. They gave a plea. It looked like my old cat, except his eyes wasn't that color. They gave a plea deal for 20 years or something like that, and he turned it down. Yeah, well, see, Court TV is saying 30 years. I've heard different things. 30 years, 20 years. I also heard 7. Yeah, this is what I heard too, Latoya. Where did you get this from? This is what I'm trying to track down. Could have had 7 years and got life. That's what I really want to find out. What 7 years? Okay, where'd you get that from? The other thing too, and I'm gonna finish this other message, but Dominique has said the ego wouldn't allow him to accept the plea deal. Now he won't be seeing daylight. And you know what? I texted a loved one. I didn't say ego. I said, let me see if I can find it. I said the narcissist. Yeah, this is what I wrote, Dominique. I'll read it to you verbatim. This is what I text. Yeah, I also typed in here, there was also things that he did to a pregnant lady and the baby passed away. Some people aren't aware of that. He abused people for years. Only a small fraction of what he did has been made public. And more people are talking about this, that were in that cult. And that's good too. Where is this thing at? I thought it was good. It did show up, but now it's not showing it. It went all the way down to the end of, well, I'll just read it from here. It says, his narcissism wouldn't let him take the plea. He thought he was invincible. And I think he really believed that he was like invincible from all this. I thought about this too. So Dominique, I said the same thing. I just didn't say ego, but ego is largely tied to narcissism. His ego wouldn't allow him to accept the plea deal. Now he won't see the daylight. I want to, this is what I'm gonna do before I get up off of here. I still want to I want to see where this 7, how's it going, Tata? Where this 7 is coming from. Anyone know, please let me know in the chat. I'd like to have, if there's an article or anything like that, a video. What's up, X Freeman? Yeah, he has a lot of footage. And this is part of what I want to get to. So with Nature Boy, everything, I shouldn't say everything, but there was a lot that played out online. He posted it online. The abuse, all kind of crazy stuff was going on. But can you imagine that was only a fraction of the totality of what he was doing too? That what we see, all the crazy stuff we saw online, that's just a small fraction. Can you imagine how he was behind closed doors? When the internet was off, as it were. But the thing is, this is one of the things that I thought about yesterday with all of this. And because I've been following Umar, and I've studied and researched Umar extensively. And the thing is that I thought about how many people could have been saved from being victimized by someone like Polite or someone like Nature Boy if more people spoke out against these types of people earlier on. Now, understand that they're still going to do what they're going to do, and they still would have caused damage. But I think that some of that damage could have been mitigated if more people spoke out. Because the thing is with Nature Boy, and I didn't watch Nature Boy too closely. I heard about him. I saw different videos on him every once in a while. But the thing is that there were people who believed in him. They just weren't physically there in the cult. So they would still support. They would send money, but they just weren't there physically in the cult. There were also people who just sat back and watched because it was crazy. And so it was entertaining, but they didn't necessarily speak out against it. They didn't take it as an opportunity to say, okay, how he's treating these people is wrong. Let me say something about it. And the thing is, this is the thing everyone has to understand, because I've researched people like this for many years. I've even met some people like this when I was in the conspiracy theory paradigm. That what happens with a lot of these individuals, and this is what happened with Eligio Bishop, a.k.a. Nature Boy. This is what happened with Polite. This is what is happening with Umar. Is that as they do what they do and no legal consequence comes about, they feel more and more invincible. So this is to say, if charges aren't brought about, let's say if Polite, and he had been doing all kinds of crazy stuff for a long time, if the legal aspect didn't come onto the scene, if charges weren't brought forth, because he's done all of this other dirt in the past and he hasn't had to answer for it, he would have felt even more invincible today if he was free. Same thing with Eligio Bishop, Nature Boy. If they hadn't hemmed him up in Atlanta and charges brought forth, all of the things that he's done in the past that were harmful to others, that was illegal, that was criminal, that he got away with, and there's still no consequence, it would have emboldened him and he would have felt as if he was even more invincible. And that's when people start calling themselves God, and I'm God, I'm the Christ. Sounds familiar? See? So when we talk about someone like Eligio Bishop, everything was, he had put so much on the internet that it wasn't, I don't think it was anything, it wasn't difficult for the prosecution to get what they needed in order to bring this guy to justice. But you guys understand that if charges weren't brought forth in the first place, he would have felt even more invincible. Now, here's the key thing with these types of people. When they're not, and I'm gonna bring it back to the point of people speaking out on these types of individuals. When they're not brought to justice, they feel more emboldened, they feel more empowered, they feel as if they're invincible, and then they also become sloppier about what they're doing. Whereas in the past, they would take the time to kind of scheme in a certain way and move in a certain way to minimize getting caught. As they start to feel as if they're invincible more and more, they get sloppy. They're not taking, I don't even know if it's the right word, but they're not taking the same precautions as they did in the past. And they get sloppy with it. And then they do too much and they're sharing too much. Where in the past, they would have been like, maybe I shouldn't do that. Because I want to keep myself. Now they feel like they're invincible. I'm going to do whatever I want to. Well, that's what happened with Polite. That's what happened with Nature Boy. That's what's happening with Umar. You guys realize Umar hasn't even been up there to live stream in them abandoned buildings in over 2.5 months? You mean to tell me someone's going to collect millions of dollars, purchase these trap bundles for $400,000, and then sit on these traps for 5 years and then has the audacity that in year 5, I'm just not going to be up there for at least I'm not going to live stream showing that I'm doing it for 2.5 months. That's sloppy. Why? Because he feels invincible. Which brings me back to the point before I get up out of here. This is one of the reasons why it's important for people to speak out against these types of things, because what it does is it provides checks and balances. It gives them incentive to say, hey, wait a minute, at the very least, maybe I need to be careful with how I'm moving, and maybe I shouldn't be doing these types of things, because ultimately it's going to catch back up to you. It's a catch-22 though too, because I would propose that some of these individuals, because of the criticism, they kind of adapt what they're doing. But if they feel invincible because they haven't been brought to justice, they're going to inevitably get sloppy, and that's when they get caught up. It's a catch-22, but I also think it's a necessary catch-22, because what ends up happening is, in the process of people speaking out about these types of people, like Nature Boy, like Jay Morrison, like Polite, like Umar Johnson, this goes on and on and on. What will happen inevitably is that people will be put in a position to get the information that they need to make better decisions in terms of how they're going to choose to either engage or not engage with these individuals. And if they choose not to, it may save someone's life. It may save someone from hardship. You guys know that there was a woman, and I'm going to be up out here. There was a woman that was in that cult, the Nature Boy cult, the Carbon Nation. It used to be called Melanoid Nation. And she had medication that she was supposed to be taking, but she got caught up with all this foolishness with them. And he, as a cult leader, tells everybody what they need to do, when to eat, he was telling people how much toilet paper they were supposed to use when they used the bathroom. He would tell people if they could eat, not when, but if, and then when, and for how long, and what. So this woman stops taking her medication, and she passes away. She dies. Someone could have been saved. A baby. A lot of people don't know about this, but there was a situation like this with Polite too. People don't talk about. Anybody know about what I'm talking about? With one of his wives that had a baby, but then the baby disappeared. Hit the one. Well, Nature Boy too. People's lives could have been saved. See, potentially. Okay. So this gets back to what I want to get to here, and that is the importance of people taking the time to speak out about people like this, because it can help to keep someone safe. It can give people information they can make the best decision for themselves. I guarantee you that if people who got caught up in Nature Boy's fiasco, if they knew his character in advance, they wouldn't have done it. Most of them, not all, but most of them. You know what? This reminds me of one thing, because I want to get to all three of these comments. Real quick, let me get in this chat room. There was one other one. And let me get in this chat room. I'm going to be up out of here. Okay. Here it is right here. So Sequoia had said 7 years to 10 to 20 years, depending on the judge's discretion, and essay registration, to life sentence without parole plus 11 years. I thought it was plus 10 years, but it may be 11. I would love to hear your thoughts, Lenon, on some aspects of the trial, including the victim impact statements. That's what I was referring to earlier. I just got it messed up. I apologize. Victim impact statement, Nature Boy's court antics. I spoke a little bit about that. I'll come back to this at another time, though, too, to get to more of this. But there's one other one. This is from Dr. Sabi Jr. He said, I'm so glad him and Polite gone, and talking about Nature Boy and Polite gone, but his wife's still out here scamming. So I think he's probably talking about Polite. Well, he may be talking about Polite's wives and Nature Boys. Well, notice that he says wives too, by the way. I want to say this before I get up out of here. You guys need to be careful, especially younger women. Well, you older women too, but younger women. Okay, take some fatherly advice for someone who's been around the block a little bit. Okay, I'm getting older. All right. Anytime you hear someone talking about polygamy, run. I don't care how good it sounds. I don't care if it sounds like the guy knows what he's talking about, or he sounds halfway intelligent. None of these guys sound intelligent to me. Not one of them. Umar, Nature Boy, Polite, Jay Morrison. They don't strike me as individuals who are intelligent. Now, they're crafty and they're criminal minded and they're shady, but that's not intelligence. Okay. I correlate intelligence with ethics. Not everyone does that. Okay, you can argue that it's erroneous for me to do that, but I do. That if you see, because that's like saying that, okay, because intelligence to me is a good thing, but if you're criminal minded, okay, well, this guy, he's intelligent, yeah, but he's criminal minded. No, he's criminal minded. That's a difference between the two, and that's just how I think of this. But I want to say this, that just because they sound intelligent or they're saying things that you want to hear, it does not mean that these are people of character, that you should be following them, that you should be supporting them, that you should be dealing with them, giving up the cookie, as Umar says. When you hear polygamy, I don't care who it is, run. Look at this. Polite, polygamy. Nature Boy, polygamy. Eligio Bishop, polygamy. Umar Johnson, polygamy. Talking about they want all these wives, don't have a job, don't have their own place. I'm sorry. Listen, can't survive in the world without the women taking care of them. That's one of the critical aspects of this. Even though Nature Boy was abusive, extremely abusive to these women, including his wives, that they're so mind controlled. It's sad, but we have to have compassion. They're victims too. He abused them to the extreme, and yet somehow they still hold him up as some sort of a deity. But you know what? In essence, the people in the cult were the ones who were taking care of him. And that's part of the reason why he developed the cult too. He had to have the attention all the time. He didn't want any of the attention going to the children that were in the cult. He didn't want anyone getting any more attention than he got, or any attention whatsoever. He wanted to be the center of the. But that's the narcissism. Well, that sounds familiar. Umar. Polite. Same thing. To a degree, Jay Morrison. So the women are taking care of these men. These men want all these wives, but it's the women who are the ones who's bringing the money in. Polite made that very clear. It's called pimp culture. That's what it's called. Umar is taken care of by mainly single black mothers staying in his mama closet. He's taken care of by women. How are you going to want multiple wives, but you can't even take care of yourself, let alone some women? They're taking care of you. And listen, I'm sorry, Larry, but he has plenty of footage of this online. Okay. Did I get to this? Yeah. Okay. So I got to, okay. And then I'll end up doing another video because I got to get up out of here to talk a little more about the trial. I was thinking about actually doing a live stream. We cover aspects of the trial and I can actually bring up video footage and stuff. Okay. Let me just get into this chat room real quick before I get up out of here. Thank you all again for tuning on in. Latoya said, I didn't follow this trial. I truly don't know details about it. Yeah, it was short though. It wasn't a long trial. I heard people say 7 years, but no people. Yeah, I haven't seen the proof. I've been looking for it. Okay. Polite was smart enough to take. Yeah. Listen, Polite would have been. He would have probably gotten life too. He probably would have gotten life. A lot of people don't realize this, but there's torture. He tortured that little girl. That's why in the victim impact statement, the mother, it was kind of in a backhanded way, but she references when the child came back, how she had bruises all over her body. Well, how is that possible? No, he abused the little girl. See, so he took the plea and he lied. He said there wasn't no plea deal and all this stuff. That's the narcissism, and because he did videos in advance, but he in jail now. Yeah, but he sure did. He knew that the evidence was overwhelming, including DNA. What's up, Seven Steel Story? What's up, Jonathan Kidd? Let's see. They did multiple ones, but I did remember the 7. Yeah, I just want to find it actually as an article or something like that I can reference online. What's up, Black? Yeah, Georgia don't play. They didn't play. They sure didn't play on this one. Polite snitching with that. Please, sure did. He sure did. Should have gotten the same thing. I agree. I totally agree. I think he got off very light, very light. And that wasn't the first time where allegations like that came to the table dealing with Polite. The person who knows a lot about that is what's the guy over there at the Black conscious community, Sa Netter. He knows a lot about that stuff. See, it was dripping the grape charge, plea guilty to the imprisonment and revenge corn and sentenced 10 years with a minimum of 7 served. Okay. Yeah, I wish I can compile all of this. Yeah, so you're saying it was dropping the, okay, so they were going to drop the grape, and then he was going to plead guilty to the imprisonment and revenge corn and sentenced to 10 years with the minimum of 7 served. Okay. Yeah, well, they got him for life, though. And listen, if he had gotten out, he would have just gotten right back. Because see, that's the thing. He would have been start doing the same thing he was doing before. And when if Polite gets out, he'll go right back to doing what he was doing before. Okay. And he can't make money off anything. Just yeah, they sure did. Yeah, they sure did, and that's good because I'm sure he probably thought that he could. Yeah, I'm doing. That's for our lady. Okay. And what's up, Gary? Okay, let me get up out of here, y'all. I just want to do this live stream real quick. I may come back a little bit later and get into it. I want to get back to live stream with dealing with Umar, and I'll probably start with the paint day fiasco that he was talking about. What's up, Tyree? Okay, and then Lewis Luck says we think children are impressionable, but what's crazy is that adults may be even more so. They hear something that resonates and they're hooked, and your face looking pudgy like voice. Here we go. Now I'm gonna have to back up off the camera. Now I'm gonna drop my microphone. I'm gonna have to back up off the camera, family. Thanks for listening, chat, Lewis. Yeah, it's interesting how people are impressionable, grown adults, but that's the mind control aspect. I did a lot of research and study into mind control back in the day. When I was in the conspiracy theory paradigm, MK Ultra, that kind of stuff, and an adult can be just as impressionable as a child. I'll propose that if you guys go and check out Nature Boy's quote unquote wives, they're still doing videos defending this guy. And if you listen to him talk, you can tell something's not right. And I know there's people who talk about them poorly and they criticize. I don't do that, at least when I've talked to other people about this situation, because they're victims too. In fact, they've been victimized to the extreme. That's one of the reasons why it's what they call Stockholm syndrome. That's one of the reasons why they still vehemently defend this guy, even though all the proof is there, including them being abused by this guy. You see? So yeah, even though we're adults, there's plenty of people who get caught up in these types of situations, get caught up in cults, get caught up in all kinds of craziness because, everyone's impressionable. I'll propose that so many people that contributed to the Tulsa real estate fund, it's not like those people were not intelligent per se. It's just Jay Morrison knows how to talk a good game, and he ran game on people to the tune of, it was what, $12 million, something like that, somewhere around there. You see, same thing with Umar, talking about a school that does not exist. It's been going on since 2010. It's been 14 years. There's still no functional school. And yet there's still people who believe that this is going to happen. And there's still people who send in the money for it. That's crazy. Well, listen, we think children are impressionable, but it's what's crazy is that adults may be even more so. They hear something that resonates and they're hooked. Yeah. I'm not going to read the last sentence. Okay. All right, thank y'all so much for tuning on in. If I have some time a little bit later, I may get back on here, but don't hold me to it. I'll try to get back on here tomorrow, because what I want to do is when people leave comments, especially ones that are pertinent to what's kind of like going on right now, I want to get to them. So I want to get to Sequoia. Thank you for that comment. And Dr. Sabi Jr., as well as Brother Dominique. Okay. All right. I'll talk with y'all soon. Y'all take care. And also thanks for the super chat from Lewis Luck. I appreciate it. I'll talk to y'all soon. Take care. Peace.